All right, welcome into Yard Prep here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. I got Lewis Sung. You can follow him at Lewis D. Sung. I've got Eric Wadicki. You can follow him at Eric Wadicki. And, of course, we've got the Earl007. That's where you follow him. 4 of us going to take you up until, well, not all the way up. But Dolphins Commanders coming up here at 1 o'clock. Dolphins trying to go 9-3 on the season, still in the soft part of their schedule. We do want to mention Prize Picks before we go any further. Use the code 5, get that initial deposit matched up to $100. I actually just did a show with David Ebersol and David Friedman. Make sure you check that out on the channel. Friedman has some very specific preferences for this game. I'll get into them with these guys as we go forward. But make sure you use the code 5, FIVE, get that initial deposit matched up to $100. You put down 20, you put down 100, whatever you put down, they're going to match it once, and it doesn't roll over. So they're just literally giving you the money. I actually just played a 5-pick for free because I had one in the holster here for $50. So we'll see if that hits. And if it does, I'll be upset that I didn't play more. All right, let's get to it. The inactives, the key thing we always start with, I guess I jinxed it. Javon Holland is out. So 99-yard return last week. He's not playing, but Hunt, Armstead, and A-Chain are in. I think we knew about Hunt and A-Chain. We weren't quite sure about Armstead. I'll start with you here, Lewis. Offensive line getting healthy, right?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Just the simple fact is now that Teron Armstead, he made it clear during the week that, hey, I didn't play up to my usual standard, and it's starting to look more and more like he basically just benched himself against the Jets and said, we're already winning enough. I don't need to play anymore, and that's why he ended up leaving the game. I don't know if that's really what it was. I sincerely doubt that McDaniel would be necessarily okay with that per se. Just I don't know. I don't like the whole elitist special treatment thing. But with that being said, Armstead is going to be trying his best to make up for what he said last week, is that he wasn't playing up to his standards. So I kind of had a good idea he was going to play. We will see about Robert Hunt. We already know that Mike McDaniel loves to play things careful when it comes to his injured players. Robert Hunt has been the way that he put it, a week-to-week player, even though his injury apparently was not nearly as severe as we are being led to believe, to be perfectly honest. So whether he plays today or not, I personally feel like we don't need him. If he does play, then this is just Mike McDaniel trying to err extremely on the side of caution last week, and the Jets just weren't. It was just a simple matter of they didn't want to use him yet because he was still maybe nicked up. Maybe now he's going to be good to go. The only one that we're really waiting for at this point, I guess, would be Isaiah Wynn, and we'll see if they use that last return from the injured reserve to get him on there. So there's still a few weeks, I guess, to wait and see what happens there. Muted, sir.
I know we got a food delivery coming soon, so we'll go to the bottom of the screen here first. I think they're going to lean a little more on the running game today. Am I nuts? Because I mean, Washington can't stop the pass. They've got a 29-year-old intern running their defense today, and they already could not stop the pass. So the easy play here is you play Hill over, throw the ball a lot to the outside receivers, and then I think people are thinking, well, it's going to be a lot of A-Chain. I think there's going to be a lot of Mostert today. Am I wrong about that?
I think they're going to pass a lot. I think Tua goes for 4 touchdowns today. I think we get probably 375 yards. They'll still run the ball. It depends on who's starting at the guard positions. If they get Robert Hunt back and he's actually playing, I think they'll have some more success on those outside zone plays, on that crack toss. We've seen some of the struggles with that with Hunt out of the lineup. I think Eichenberg should get the start at left guard. He's been playing well. So if you get those guys, I think he's got a little more range than Lester Cotton. If you get those guys out there, they're going to run the ball. I don't want to say it's going to be like the Denver game, but I could see us putting up a ton of offense, both aerially and on the ground.
What do you think, Eric? I guess the cool play today is to play the rookie because he's back, but I feel like McDaniel's going to be cautious with him.
Yeah, I the thing with HN, I don't think he's going to see a ton of touches today. I think that they're going to keep it kind of maybe 15 to 18 touches overall for Mostert, and then probably somewhere between 8 and 10 for HN. which I think is kind of close to the split that they want regardless. I do think you will see a lot of run game today. I'm not sure if anybody else has seen photos of the stadium, but it looks like visibility might be an issue today with all the fog. So I can definitely see the run game kind of factoring in a little bit more than we would normally think here. And I think that actually is kind of an advantage for the Dolphins, considering the fact that they've allowed about 30 yards per game on the ground the last few weeks. So I think you're looking at offensively a lot of running, and then the defense is set up to stop the run.
Yeah, I think they're going to move the ball today. I mean, I would be surprised if they don't. I know that this team is trending more towards the defensive side lately than the offensive side, but this feels like a get-right game from an offensive perspective. I would be disappointed, honestly, if their rhythm doesn't look better than it's looked recently on offense. Lewis, let's pivot to the other side of this thing, though. On the defense, no Holland today, obviously big playmaker in the secondary. We saw that last week. They love to throw the ball. They're going to, I think the attempts are 39.5 is the projection today on the passing attempts for Washington. But I mean, how much can they really attack on the outside with Ramsey and Howard in there? And who do they attack with? Because it seems like Scary Terry hasn't been so scary in some games this year. He's been very up and down.
So I would like to propose that I don't think that Ramsey's going to be on the outside as much as we think. I think with Javon Holland out for today, I think that this might be the day where Vic Fangio opts to try to use Jalen Ramsey as an extra chess piece. If not, the other potential solution to the problem is to use more Nick Needham. Maybe they'll try to use Nick Needham to fill the role of Javon Holland, but personally, I feel like this is going to be a day where we're going to see the secondary be moved around a lot. We're going to see, obviously, Deshaun Elliott's going to continue to do his thing. Maybe we'll see Brandon Jones in there a little bit. Javon Holland being out, it's not as big of a hit as obviously Jalen Ramsey or Xavier Howard being out. Those boundary corners, there's a reason they get paid the big bucks. But for somebody like Holland, you still have a certain amount of versatility that you can get away with as long as you have someone like a Jalen Ramsey, someone like a Nick Needham, who they can easily play nickel corner, safety, boundary corner, whatever you need them to do. I would not be surprised if today we see a lot of Nick Needham snaps, whether it's at the boundary corner or whether he's playing safety, because I think that ultimately is what we are going to get with the loss of Javon Holland. I'm not stressing it too much. As far as Washington throwing the football, them throwing the football all the time is a simple result of the fact that they're constantly playing from behind. And if we're being dead honest about things, we were talking about it all this week on Fins Nation. Paul's talking about it. Dolphins are going to get sacks today. The Commanders let up more sacks than anybody else in the NFL. If they don't get at least 5 sacks today, I'm going to raise an eyebrow again at Vic Fangio and saying this is the most sacked team in the NFL. Why did you not absolutely demolish them? You're muted again, sir.
Well, Lewis, let me pivot on that, though. They don't have Jalen Phillips, right? So that's different. So let's discuss that because we haven't yet. I know Van Ginkel's been very good, but and you have Bradley Chubb. But at this point, don't we need to see a renaissance from Emmanuel Ogbah, who hasn't really – has Emmanuel Ogbah made a play this year?
Yes, an interception, a few sacks. When he's in, when he's
Okay.
been in, he does things. It's just
When
that
he's
there's
been
no
in,
room for
okay,
him.
right. Right, that's true. Okay, so that's fair. All right, so I mean, is he the guy that has to step up now, or is it just more Van Ginkel? Do they have to bring pressure other ways? How do they, Eric? Why do you think they make up for the loss of Phillips?
I mean, it's tough to say in this game specifically because I think to Lewis's point that this is kind of just a matchup where you can almost without minimizing what Jalen Phillips means to this defense, you can almost put anybody at that edge spot today and get some sort of production. I think with the options that you have, whether it's Andrew Van Ginkel or whether it's Emmanuel Ogbah, I do think you will see a little bit more Emmanuel Ogbah. But overall, I mean, I Andrew Van Ginkel's been so productive in his time when he has gotten those reps on the edge that I have no reason to believe that it won't be him again because he just always seems to find the ball when he's at that spot.
Let's get to some prize picks here, and then we'll get to the picks. I'll just let you know when I played today, and you're looking at some of the sack numbers. That Wilkins half a quarter of a sack looks pretty good. He gets a half. He gets over. I mentioned before I played Mostert over on 49.5 rush yards today. I still think he's going to get enough carries. I know David Freeman liked him over 11.5 carries. Carries always worries me with McDaniel, but I feel like the overall production will be there. I'll ask both of you guys, would you play Tyreek Hill over 103.5 passing receiving yards? I actually played him over on 7.5 receptions. Would you play?
I think the answer has to be yes, honestly. As crazy as it sounds at that number of 103.5, this is a Commanders team defensively that's just they're just awful. I mean, you look at what the Cowboys were able to do to them. This again, I think as weird as it sounds, last week against the Jets was actually, and I know I hate to say aside from 2 picks, but aside from 2 picks, it did feel like the offense's best performance in a couple weeks. Just overall, I thought that they were a lot more crisp, and I think they continue that against an even worse defense this week.
And keep in mind that Emmanuel Forbes, their phenom rookie corner, is out today, so they have even less firepower to work with on defense.
What's your favorite play on the offense for the Dolphins today, Lewis?
Have to look at this real quick here just to kind of take a peek. Honestly, the most comfortable thing that I feel like we can look at is just Tua's touchdowns. At the very minimum, I feel like against a defense of the Commanders' caliber, which is not a good caliber, I think at minimum Tua throws 2 touchdowns. So at worst, that prop is at least going to get pushed. So I don't see any. I see 0 problems. It's basically a no risk play for Tua Tagovailoa at this point. If he gets more, you win. If he only gets 2, then then it's basically a no play. So it's probably the safest pick on this board right now.
I like Brian on the other side. I like Brian Robinson over his rushing and receiving yards. I think is a total of 57.5. I know the Dolphins have done a good job on backs typically, but again, and I know Antonio gives 40.5 rush yards, but I actually went over the rushing and receiving. You can see he's cleared that reasonably comfortably the last 4 of that out of the last 5. So I like that one. And I also I I might play Tua over the half an interception. Honestly, there's always going to be one when we think the game is getting away. Throw a touchdown after that.
Today, though, feels like it's a little more dangerous to play that because this is not a good. This is one of those teams where Tua's bound to have like the perfect game. Okay, that's the honest truth right now.
Oh boy, I hope we don't have
the Jets have a good defense. That's the only thing good about the Jets. So him throwing 2 interceptions is understandable.
You could make the argument though that the interceptions are more a product of the offense than Tua, though, Lewis, just because of the way that they do their offense.
The miscommunications lately too. There have been some of those also. So I look. Obviously, I'm putting out bad juju. Actually, here, Polterghost. Your name is Polterghost. You're saying I'm putting out bad juju. Actually, if I say it, the opposite's going to happen. So isn't that how that works, or at least it's supposed to work? But I
hope not, because I'm playing these everything you put.
Right. Well, exactly. Half interception. Well, here's the one thing I was going to say. I said this on the Prize Picks show. If you put in Prize Picks, make sure you actually submit them. Because last night I hit a 3 play at the Heat game, and I promoted it, but I never actually submitted it. So I literally spent the entire second half waiting for Obi Toppin to score more points, and quietly celebrated on press row, and then look later at my past entries, and there was nothing there. So if you go to Prize Picks, make sure you enter it. That's a rookie mistake that I made there. All right, let's get to the picks. By the way, what's the food? What did you get down there?
Italian.
All right, sounds good. I'm hungry, so
pizza, spaghetti, and Alfredo.
I may have to order Taco Bell. # not sponsored.
Not sponsored. We gotta get that Miami subs or Miami Grill sponsorship like we used to have. All right, let's do this here quickly then, because I don't want you to get in an accident. What's your pick today, Mr. Italian man?
You talking about the score of the game?
Yes.
I got the Dolphins 31-13.
That seems fair. When you get pulled over, that you can tell the officer that, because I love when we do these shows from our cars, because I do that all the time also. Wadicki, what are you thinking?
41-17 Miami. I need a 40 ball today. I need 40 today.
This is an offensive explosion today. Lewis, what are you thinking?
I mean, my thoughts have changed over the course of the week, obviously. I'm personally thinking Dolphins will win this game. I don't know if they go 40, but I think they'll comfortably score at least 30 points. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, let's see. I'll say the Dolphins score about 31 points, but the Commanders, they'll get about 17. They'll score some touchdowns just for the simple fact of Sam Howell throwing the ball 50 times. So there's another one that I would not be opposed to doing. Probably just hitting the pass attempts for Sam Howell. He's definitely going to throw a bazillion times.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Freeman liked that one too. I want to go a little counter to you guys on this. I think this is going to be a little tougher than some are assuming. The Dolphins have not been great on the road with their offense this year. They just haven't. I think they'll be better today, but I also do think that Washington will put up some points and push them. I think turnovers will play a role here today. I'm going to say 30-24. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than you guys are projecting. We'll see. But this would be disappointing. Look, you've got to show that you can win these games on the road against teams that you should beat. It's one thing to lose, to Kansas City in a game that you're competitive in overseas, and one or two plays, maybe the thing goes different. Philadelphia, we know the officiating in that game gave them no chance at all. And obviously Buffalo early in the season was a different Buffalo team, and Miami always struggles up there. This is not a game that you should lose. But I do think it's going to be a little tighter. People anticipate. When you look at Commanders fans, like, that team's been competitive in a lot of games this year. They just haven't closed. So I'm going to look at it and think it's going to be a little bit tighter maybe than people are projecting. But the Dolphins should be 9-3 after this thing is over. Thanks to Eric. Thanks to the Earl 007. Thanks to Lewis. We'll be back with you on the post-game show. Have a good day, everybody.
See ya.